Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back on the Fox, having some idling issues, so I thought I would dig deeper into this and see exactly what's going on. I wanted to share with you what I found. Okay guys, so what I done was I took the throttle body off and I cleaned it. It had a lot of carbon buildup. The EGR valve was stuck closed. I cleaned it out and broke it free, so the plunger is working on it. I put a new TPS sensor on it and I put a new idle air control valve. The thing with the TPS sensor is I was trying to test it, you know, to set the voltage on it, you know, the mid 90s, you know, between 94 and 98 probably would be efficient for this. Well, when I went to go test it, I wouldn't get no voltage to it. I couldn't get no reading whatsoever. So I got my meter out and I checked my battery to make sure I had 12 volts across the battery. So my meter's good. So I started testing everything. And then I pulled the computer to see if one of the capacitors was bad, and it was good. So I started tracking. I thought I might have a wiring issue because I wasn't getting any voltage to the TPS, the EGR, but I was getting it to the MAP sensor, which is kind of confusing. I think pin number 26 goes to all three, and that's where you get your, I think it's a 5-volt reference. But anyway, so I went inside where the computer's at, and I can show you. And I looked up the orange wire right here. There was an orange and white wire. I pinned it with a little needle and I checked voltage and I was getting 5 volts there. So I know my computer is sending the signal. So I ruled that out. Then I got up here and I checked which the mass air, or the idle air is on a different circuit, but I went ahead and checked it just to make sure, and it was good. I checked the MAP sensor, it was good. These two, throttle position sensor and EGR, was the only two that I wasn't getting any readings on. I started looking, and I want you to look at this. I took the throttle cable bracket loose, and I started moving these wires, and I opened up the loom, and sure enough, my orange and white wire was broke. So if you're not getting voltage to your TPS or EGR, start backtracking and checking your wiring. I just left my ground over there on the battery, and then I just started, you know, checking. I checked my orange here. I wasn't getting any voltage. And then I pinned this wire right in here. I wasn't getting any voltage because the break was below that. But I just so happened to think, well, I'm gonna take this off because I was getting voltage over there to the MAP sensor, so it had to be between here and there that was bad. All I did was I took a paper clip and I filed the end of it sharp, and I would just poke it into the wire and read the voltage between the MAP sensor and there. So when I knew I wasn't getting it, that's where I found it. So I'm gonna put that together and then we'll check the voltage on the TPS. Okay guys, I've got it set here on DC voltage, and I went ahead, I don't know if you can see that close, but I went ahead and crimped the two wires for the EGR. It come off the power supply, the orange and white, come over to the EGR, and then this is the TPS. And now I'm going to check the voltage. Like I said, I got it on the voltage here, DC. So let's see if we don't get 5 off of the orange. So if you look at the orange wire coming in, it's the pin over here. We are now getting 5.09 volts. That fixed the issue. Like I said, I crimped that with a metal lug, and then I shrink wrapped it with a short piece of shrink wrap. So now I'm gonna put the wire loom back on. I'm gonna put my heater core hose back on and put all this back together, and we'll start it and see if that fixes our surge issue. Okay, I have everything back together. It's a little blurry back here, but I really wanted you to see the meter. So I'm gonna go back here and I'm going to pin the green wire. Let's see if we don't have something around the 90s. So we're at 95.95. That's about perfect for what I want. 94, 95 in that ballpark will be great for a throttle position sensor. You can go all the way up to 0.98 or 0.99 if you want to, or even 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook the battery and I'm going to let it drain as far as the computer and everything, because I'm afraid if I start it with all that it would take a little while for it to find itself and recalculate. Take the negative battery cable off and just let it set for about 5 minutes and let the computer kind of drain out and turn the key on. Just let the voltage get out of the system, and then I'll put the negative cable back on, and then we will start this and see what we got. All right, guys, we're fixing to start it. We're going to watch the idle. When I turn it on, it may idle funny. For one, it may be trying to find itself and recalibrate, and for two, when I was trying to get everything running, I played with the idle screw on the throttle body, so it may be off a little bit, so we may have to do some fine adjustments once this starts. Let's just hope that it does pretty good. Here we go. It's cold, it hasn't been started, and over a day, it does sound like it has a minor mist to it still yet, but that may clear up once everything gets back in sync. I'm going to dig deeper, but at least we got the surge fixed, and we'll continue to move on. Let's go ahead and plug up our air. And you can see that the smoke is already blowing. Now what I'm going to do is I've got this vacuum line unhooked right here. Let's go ahead and shove it in, and let's just give it some time to work its way through the system, and let's see if we start seeing any smoke. I'm getting a little smoke down here at the bottom. I think that's just coming from the air box. I'm going to get a flashlight and shine down in there and make sure that's exactly what's going on. Yeah, that's where I'm getting smoke. It's from the air box. I don't really see any vacuum leaks. I was suspecting that I would have a vacuum leak back in here somewhere, but I don't show any. So now we can unhook that, hook the brake booster back up, and I think I'm going to actually smoke back towards the brake booster because that fitting back there is really loose. So I'm going to see if I'm losing vacuum at the brake booster. Okay, I think we're good. I don't see any vacuum leaks. The only smoke that I'm seeing is coming from the air box. I even hooked it here and backtracked it to the tree to see if it was going to the brake booster and if I got a leak over here. I don't have a leak over here either. And I will also put a link in the description below for this. This is a code reader. So I got the scanner hooked up. There's a black plug and a gray plug that is on the driver's side near the firewall. So leave the scanner off for now, turn the key on, and then we can come out here and turn the scanner on. Let's turn the scanner on. Just push on. And then let's push test. And you will start hearing some of the connections click off and on. I think the 11 is like normal stuff. We'll look at it and see. And let's cut the car on and actually start it and then come out here and do that same thing. A 33 car only. It says the EGR valve is not opening properly. I ordered a new EGR. Here's the part numbers. It's EGV256T, and this is the EGR position sensor. I also went ahead and ordered one of those just in case mine is faulty. It's M19228. This is the only code that I threw on this car was an EGR. So I'm going to put this on there. Hopefully this bent will be good. And once we get it on, we're going to fire it up. All right, guys, the moment of truth. Let's start it. Take it out for a spin and I'll get back with you. So we did several different things to try to test for certain issues. It's really to try to eliminate. I bought this car not knowing anything about it, and you know, it had an idling issue. I thought it would be a quick and easy fix. Apparently I'm going to have to try to chase this thing down. We have cleaned the throttle body, which was probably one of the worst carbon buildup throttle bodies I've ever taken apart. I mean, it was pretty rough. Cleaned it out, put a new idle air control valve because the other one was dirty and I was still getting really bad throttle response. I've put a TPS sensor on it because the old one I wasn't getting any voltage to it, but then once I put the new one on, I still wasn't getting any voltage. So then I found the wire that was broke and wasn't sending voltage to the TPS, so we fixed that. And then I put a smoke test on it. Didn't see any leaks whatsoever, which was surprising because I figured for sure that I had a vacuum leak somewhere. Those hoses don't look that good a shape. They're kind of dry rotted and cracked, probably all original hoses. I will probably replace those some point down the road. So then I put a code reader on it, and I was throwing an EGR code, and I cleaned the EGR, and I figured it would probably fix that, but it didn't. So, you know, at this point, I put a brand new EGR valve on it, put a new idle air control, new TPS sensor, cleaned the throttle body, and I went ahead and bought a MAP sensor, and I put a MAP sensor on it. The MAP sensor is a part that I purchased without really being testing it per se. It was just something that I know that can cause surging and idling and stuff like that. So I thought, you know, 50 bucks, why not just go ahead and put it on there and take a chance and see if it fixes it. And it didn't. It is idling. Like, it's not fluctuating no more. Like, I don't have idle surges and stuff, but I still have hesitation, and I still have a slight miss in the car. Part 3 of the video, we're going to do some more testing. Just try to stay with me on this. I know that I've not really fixed the problem on one video. This is going to, like I said, this is going to be like a 3-part series. I did all the first on the throttle body, just trying to clean up everything. I want to be realistic and transparent and show you some of the real world things that people go through trying to figure out what's wrong with their Foxbody Mustang or any other vehicle for that matter. You know, so you get on YouTube and they make it think, you know, you see people put one part on and it fixes it. You know, that's not always the case. Sometimes it's multiple situations. You would think that that broke TPS sensor wire, you'd fix that and get all voltage to your TPS, your EGR, and your MAP sensor. You'd think you'd put all that together and the car would probably run great. Well, it does not. It still has the hesitation, but like I said, everything we're doing, I'm seeing little improvements in it, but I'm not getting the full effect of completely running great. So I'm going to dial into the fuel issues and stuff maybe in the next video. I think that's where my problem is. That's the only thing I can grasp, is why it's hesitating and why I'm having a slow reaction on RPM and stuff. Is possibly a fuel issue. So we're going to dig into that in part 3. Stay with me, and I appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.